Good morning. I'm back out at the cabin. You can see things are starting to green up. In probably a few weeks you won't even be able to see the cabin barely from here. Got a bunch of work to do today. You'll have to excuse me, I'm using my damaged phone right now and it's really hard to be able to turn it on and record with it. So it's going to have to be all in one take. I found this roll of barbed wire last year and I dropped it off at the halfway point to my cabin because I was going to come up with a plan and put up some barbed wire to discourage this intruder. Of course, he had to find it and he tossed it in the bush, and just by coincidence, because things aren't green and there's no snow, I just happened to see it and I brought it out here. So that will be going in the cabin or getting stashed somewhere. My main reason for coming out here today, tripped over the barbed wire, is to fix up this storage shelter. On my last trip, I noticed it was getting pretty run down looking. And not only is it a storage shelter, it's also my backup emergency shelter in case something happens. In case something goes horribly wrong in the cabin, I can just come out here. I got a wood burning stove at the back hiding. Got the stovepipe already hooked up. Just have to get a fire going in there really. Welcome back. I'm actually in my storage tent right now. I've got the wood stove going. It's nice and cozy in here. Got kicked out of my cabin. I have the wood stove in here for a backup. Just have to make a bed. I'd rather sleep with mice than flies. I'm gonna get to work, and of course it's gonna be windy today. Alright, so this is where I'm at. This will probably take me the whole day. But there's a few things I forgot to mention. Is I will be tearing this down. I'll be moving it somewhere else. Maybe 50 feet away from the cabin. I will salvage all this material the best I can. This tarp, the silver one, is from my old winter camp that I moved out here. And because it's such a bright color, I bought a brown tarp to cover it. So I actually had 2 layers of tarp. And what had happened was, I think it was 2 years ago, some hornets made a nest in between the 2 tarps. I remember coming out here one time and I was very lucky I didn't get stung. I'm hoping that the intruder that came out here, or that keeps coming out here, I hope he discovered it. All right, back to work. That's quite the mess right there. Don't worry, I'll have all this cleaned up eventually. I can't believe the amount of wire and rope I had holding this thing together. I'm going to try to salvage as much as I can. And that's where I'm at so far. It's not as tight as I wanted it to be, but there's only so much I can do. And here's my new storage tent. That's pretty cozy in here. There's my Coleman chair that I won quite a few years ago at work. That tarp down there, that is big enough to cover the doorway. So if I ever did have to use it for emergency, I can at least cover this side up. And I brought in a lot of that firewood into the cabin. See, I told you I'd clean this place up. I cannot stand a mess. I raked up a lot of this duff. It was probably 4 inches thick. I want this to return back to normal as soon as possible. It will provide some cover for my cabin. This is a little workbench I had with a vise. That guy stole my vise, but I'm going to leave this here anyways. Still got to deal with that tarp. I brought out my ladder. I have that stashed in the bush. And I still got lots of work to do, but I'm going to have a break first. Alright, I think I'm all done. What I did on the roof is I took some of that blue and silver tarp, cut a big square, and slid it up underneath that camouflage tarp. I used a piece of plywood to slide it up underneath. Either I fixed it or I made it worse. I'll find out in the fall. Had a look at my stovepipe, tightened that up. This bit of eavesdropping here was hanging, I fixed that. That area where my storage tent was is all cleaned up. Looks pretty good. This tarp is coming home with me. I fought for quite a while with that, trying to roll it up in the wind. I have another tarp here covering up some firewood. Well, the cabin's all locked up. I'm just sitting in here relaxing. And I'm thinking maybe this winter I'll spend some time in here, make it all cozy. Back before my cabin, I used to do hot tenting in something almost exactly like this for 6 years, even longer, I think. I built that stove in 2011. I've been using it this whole time. Well, that's pretty much it for this one. All my jobs are done. My wife won't be able to pick me up for about 2.5 hours. I thought about pulling out the crosscut saw, but I just don't feel up to it. So I'm just going to take it easy. I don't know if I'll be back again until the fall. It's just not enjoyable out here during the summer. Usually you're not allowed to have a fire because we're at such a high wildfire risk right now. Tons of mosquitoes. Not fun.